Welcome back to Inasi Global Affairs, your trusted source for the latest immigration updates and pathways to your Australian dream. Before we dive into today's groundbreaking announcement, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to share with you could completely change your immigration journey. Trust me, you do not want to miss a single detail of what's coming in this video. Today, we're covering news that has sent shockwaves through the immigration community. News that could open doors you thought were permanently closed. News that might just make your Australian dream a reality sooner than you ever imagined. Imagine waking up this morning, scrolling through your phone, checking your emails, going about your daily routine, completely unaware that your entire future could be about to change. That's exactly what happened to thousands of skilled workers around the world when the Australian government dropped one of the most significant announcements in recent immigration history. We're talking about a massive expansion of the Core Skills Occupation List, an update so substantial that it's going to reshape the landscape of skilled migration to Australia for years to come. 456 occupations. Let that number sink in for just a moment. 456 different pathways, 456 opportunities, 456 chances for skilled workers to build their future in one of the most prosperous and beautiful countries on earth. This isn't just an update. This is a revolution in Australian immigration policy, and if you've been watching this space, if you've been following the trends, if you've been waiting for your moment, this could be it. Now I know what you're thinking. You're probably wondering if your occupation made the list. You're probably feeling that mixture of excitement and anxiety, hope and uncertainty. You might be asking yourself whether this is real, whether this actually applies to you, whether you should start planning your move, or if this is just another false hope. Well, stay with me, because we're going to break down everything you need to know, and I mean everything. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand, what your options are, and what steps you need to take next. But before we get into the specifics, let's talk about why this matters so much. Australia has always been a land of opportunity, a place where skilled workers from around the world can come and build extraordinary lives. But in recent years, the pathways have become increasingly narrow. Occupation lists have been restricted. Requirements have become more stringent. Competition has intensified. Many skilled workers have found themselves locked out, watching from the sidelines as their dreams seem to slip further and further away. That's why today's announcement is so monumental. The Australian government has recognized something crucial. They've recognized that the country needs skilled workers across a much broader range of occupations than previously acknowledged. They've recognized that economic growth, social development, and national prosperity depend on attracting talent from every corner of the world. They've recognized that the old lists were too restrictive, too limited, too outdated for the modern economy that Australia is building. So what exactly is the Core Skills Occupation List? For those of you who might be new to Australian immigration, let me break this down in simple terms. The Core Skills Occupation List is essentially a catalog of occupations that Australia has identified as being in high demand. If your occupation is on this list, it means the Australian government has determined that there aren't enough Australian workers to fill these roles, which means they're actively looking for skilled workers from overseas to come and fill these positions. Being on this list opens up several visa pathways. It makes you eligible for certain skilled migration programs. It can improve your chances of receiving an invitation to apply for permanent residency. It can even affect the points you receive in your expression of interest. In short, being on this list can be the difference between a straightforward pathway to Australia and a nearly impossible uphill battle. The previous version of this list had significant limitations. Many occupations that were clearly in demand weren't included. Skilled workers in emerging fields found themselves excluded. Even some traditional occupations that Australia desperately needed weren't represented. Immigration lawyers, migration agents, and advocacy groups had been pushing for an expansion for years, arguing that the list didn't reflect the true needs of the Australian economy. And now, finally, their voices have been heard. The new Core Skills Occupation List doesn't just tweak around the edges, it doesn't just add a handful of new occupations, it fundamentally reimagines what skilled migration to Australia looks like. With 456 occupations now included, we're looking at the most comprehensive and inclusive skilled migration framework Australia has ever had. Let's talk about some of the sectors that have seen the most dramatic expansions. The healthcare sector has always been a priority for Australia, but the new list takes this to another level. We're not just talking about doctors and nurses anymore, though those remain critically important. We're talking about allied health professionals, mental health workers, aged care specialists, medical researchers, health administrators, and so many more specialized roles. The aging Australian population and the lessons learned from recent global health challenges have made it clear that healthcare workers across the entire spectrum are desperately needed. The technology and information sector has also seen enormous growth on this list. Australia is positioning itself as a tech hub for the Asia-Pacific region, and they need the talent to make that vision a reality. Software developers, cybersecurity specialists, data analysts, artificial intelligence experts, cloud architects, user experience designers, and dozens of other tech roles are now included. If you're in the tech industry, this could be your golden ticket to Australia. The construction and engineering sectors have received significant attention as well. Australia has ambitious infrastructure plans. They're building new cities, expanding existing ones, developing renewable energy projects, and modernizing transportation networks. This requires an army of skilled workers. Engineers across every discipline, project managers, construction specialists, urban planners, quantity surveyors, and many more related occupations are now on the list. Education is another sector that's been substantially expanded. Teachers have always been in demand, but now we're seeing recognition for early childhood educators, special education teachers, vocational education trainers, education administrators, and curriculum developers. Australia understands that investing in education today means building a stronger nation tomorrow, and they need skilled educators to make that happen. The trades have also received much-deserved recognition. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, welders, automotive technicians, refrigeration mechanics, and numerous other trades are included. Australia has long faced a shortage of skilled tradespeople, and this expansion acknowledges that these workers are absolutely essential to the nation's continued growth and development. But it's not just the obvious sectors. The new list includes occupations that reflect the changing nature of work and society. Environmental scientists and sustainability specialists are there, reflecting Australia's commitment to addressing climate change. Social workers and community service professionals are included, recognizing the importance of social cohesion and support services. Creative professionals, like graphic designers and multimedia specialists, have a place, acknowledging that the creative economy is a vital part of modern prosperity. Agricultural and farming occupations have received attention too. Australia's agricultural sector is world-renowned, but it needs skilled workers to maintain and grow that reputation. Agricultural scientists, farm managers, viticulturists, and many other agriculture-related roles are on the list. Now let's talk about what this means for you personally. If your occupation is on this new list, you've just been given an incredible opportunity. But having your occupation on the list is just the first step. You still need to meet certain requirements. You need to have your skills assessed by the relevant assessing authority for your occupation. You need to meet English language requirements. You need to be under a certain age or have enough points to compensate. You need to have the right qualifications and experience. But here's the thing, and this is crucial. Having your occupation on the Core Skills Occupation List dramatically improves your chances of success. It means Australia wants what you have to offer. It means you're not fighting against the tide, but swimming with the current. It means when you lodge your expression of interest, when you apply for your visa, when you go through the assessment process, you're doing so as someone Australia has specifically identified as needed. Let's talk about the practical steps you need to take if your occupation is on the list. First, you need to get your skills assessed. Every occupation has a designated assessing authority, and they're responsible for determining whether your qualifications and experience meet Australian standards. This process can take time, so don't delay. Start researching your assessing authority today. Understand what documents they need. Get your qualifications verified. Prepare your employment references. The sooner you start this process, the sooner you can move forward. Second, you need to assess your English language proficiency. Most skilled migration pathways require you to take an English language test like IELTS, PTE, or TOEFL. Different visa pathways have different score requirements, so research what you'll need and start preparing. If English isn't your first language, consider taking preparation courses. The difference between a good score and a great score can significantly impact your chances. Third, you need to understand the points system. Australia's skilled migration program uses a points-based system. You receive points for your age, English proficiency, work experience, qualifications, and various other factors. You need to reach a minimum points threshold to be considered, and the higher your points, the better your chances of receiving an invitation to apply. Calculate your points honestly. Identify areas where you can improve. Maybe you can get a higher English score. Maybe you can complete an additional qualification. Maybe you can gain more work experience. Every point counts. Fourth, you need to decide which visa pathway is right for you. The Core Skills Occupation List opens up several possibilities. The Skilled Independent Visa allows you to migrate to Australia without needing sponsorship from an employer or family member. The Skilled Nominated Visa requires nomination from a state or territory government, which can give you additional points. The Employer-Sponsored Visa requires a job offer from an Australian employer. Each pathway has advantages and requirements, so research carefully or consult with a registered migration agent. Fifth, you need to prepare financially. Migration isn't cheap. There are skills assessment fees, English test fees, visa application fees, health examination costs, police certificate expenses, and you'll need to show you have sufficient funds to support yourself when you arrive in Australia. Start saving now. Budget carefully. Make sure you're financially prepared for this journey. Now let's address something important. Not every occupation will be on this list, and if yours isn't, that doesn't mean your Australian dream is over. There are still other pathways. You might be eligible for a temporary work visa that could eventually lead to permanent residency. You might qualify for a family visa if you have relatives in Australia. You might be able to pursue further education in Australia and transition to skilled migration afterward. There are always options, and while having your occupation on the Core Skills Occupation List makes things easier, it's not the only way. But if your occupation is on the list, you need to act now. Immigration policies can change. Occupation lists get updated. What's available today might not be available tomorrow. I've seen too many people wait, hesitate, overthink, and then miss their opportunity. Don't be that person. If this is what you want, if Australia is where you want to build your future, then start taking concrete steps today. Let me share with you some success stories I've come across. I've spoken with nurses from India who arrived in Australia 3 years ago and are now working in top hospitals, earning excellent salaries, enjoying work-life balance they never thought possible, and building wealth for their families. I've met software engineers from Pakistan who made the move and are now working on cutting-edge projects, contributing to global tech innovations, and living in beautiful Australian cities. I've talked with teachers from the Philippines who have found fulfilling careers in Australian schools, making real differences in children's lives while enjoying a quality of life they'd only dreamed of. These aren't special people. They're not extraordinarily lucky. They're ordinary individuals who saw an opportunity, did their research, met the requirements, and took action. They're living proof that this works, that the Australian dream is real, that skilled migration can transform your life. And with this expanded Core Skills Occupation List, more people than ever before have that opportunity. Now let's talk about what life in Australia is actually like, because understanding your destination is crucial. Australia consistently ranks among the best countries in the world for quality of life. The healthcare system is excellent. The education system is world-class. The job market for skilled workers is strong. Salaries are competitive, often higher than comparable positions in other developed countries. The work culture generally emphasizes work-life balance. Most professionals work standard hours and have time for family, hobbies, and personal development. The natural environment is extraordinary. Australia boasts stunning beaches, remarkable wildlife, diverse landscapes from tropical rainforests to vast outback deserts, and cities that routinely top global livability rankings. Whether you prefer urban sophistication or natural beauty, Australia offers both in abundance. The multicultural nature of Australian society means migrants are welcomed and integrated. Australia is built on immigration. Nearly half of all Australians were either born overseas or have at least one parent born overseas. You'll find communities from every corner of the world. You'll taste cuisines from hundreds of cultures. You'll hear dozens of languages. This diversity is celebrated, not merely tolerated. But let me be honest with you. Migration isn't easy. You'll face challenges. You'll experience culture shock. You'll miss family and friends. You'll need to adapt to new systems, new social norms, new ways of doing things. The first year can be tough. There will be moments of doubt, moments of homesickness, moments when you wonder if you made the right decision. But here's what I've learned from talking to hundreds of migrants. Those challenges are temporary. The adaptation period ends. The new becomes familiar. The strange becomes normal. And when you look back after a few years, most people say it was absolutely worth it. They say the opportunities they've gained, the security they've achieved, the future they've built for their children, the experiences they've had, all of it made those initial difficulties worthwhile. So where do you find the complete list of 456 occupations? The official list is published on the Australian Government's Department of Home Affairs website. You can also find it on Skill Select and various state government immigration websites. Take your time reviewing it. Read the occupation descriptions carefully. Some occupation titles can be misleading, so make sure you understand what each one actually entails. Cross-reference with the ANZSCO codes, which are the official occupation classification codes used in Australia and New Zealand. If you're uncertain whether your specific role fits within a listed occupation, don't guess. Consult with a registered migration agent. These professionals understand the nuances of occupation classifications. They can assess your situation accurately and guide you toward the right pathway. Yes, they charge fees, but the investment is worth it if it means avoiding costly mistakes or pursuing the wrong visa pathway. Let me also address some common myths and misconceptions. Some people believe that being on the Core Skills Occupation List guarantees a visa. It doesn't. It makes you eligible and improves your chances, but you still need to meet all other requirements and compete with other applicants. Some people think that once they have a visa, they can work in any field. Actually, employer-sponsored visas and some other pathways tie you to specific occupations or employers, at least initially. Some people assume migration is quick and easy. It's not. The process typically takes many months, sometimes over a year, and requires patience and persistence. Another important consideration is the role of state and territory nomination. Each Australian state and territory has its own priorities and its own occupation lists that complement the National Core Skills Occupation List. Some occupations might be on the national list, but receive additional priority in certain states. For example, South Australia might be particularly interested in certain health professionals, while Queensland might prioritize agriculture specialists, and New South Wales might focus on tech workers. Research which states align best with your occupation and preferences. The timing of your application also matters. Immigration systems work on invitation rounds. The government regularly reviews expressions of interest and issues invitations to those with the highest points or those who meet specific criteria. Understanding these cycles and timing your application strategically can make a significant difference. This is another area where a migration agent can provide valuable guidance. Let's talk about the economic perspective. Australia is investing in skilled migration because it makes economic sense. Skilled migrants contribute to the economy immediately. They fill critical workforce gaps. They pay taxes. They start businesses. They create jobs. They innovate. They bring diverse perspectives and international connections. Study after study has shown that skilled migration is economically beneficial for destination countries, and Australia has been smart enough to embrace this reality. For you as an individual migrant, the economic opportunities are substantial. Average salaries in Australia are high compared to most countries. The minimum wage is among the highest in the world. Superannuation, which is Australia's retirement savings system, means your employer contributes an additional percentage of your salary to your retirement fund. Healthcare is affordable through the Medicare system. Education is accessible. Property ownership is achievable for those who plan carefully. Now let's address the elephant in the room, the concern that's probably nagging at the back of your mind. What if you go through all this effort, invest all this time and money, and then something goes wrong? What if policies change? What if your application is rejected? What if you can't adapt to life in Australia? These are legitimate concerns, and I'm not going to pretend they're not real. Here's the truth. Immigration involves risk. There are no guarantees. Policies do sometimes change, though existing applications are usually protected. Applications can be rejected if you don't meet requirements or make mistakes in your application. Some people do struggle to adapt and eventually return to their home countries. These outcomes happen, though they're far less common than successful migrations. But consider the alternative. What happens if you don't try? What if you let fear hold you back? What if you're sitting here 5 years from now in the same situation, wondering what might have been? What if this opportunity passes and you never get another one like it? That regret, that wondering, that sense of a missed opportunity, for many people that's worse than trying and facing challenges. The key is to approach this intelligently. Do your research, understand the requirements, prepare thoroughly, seek professional advice when needed, be honest about your situation and your chances. Don't cut corners or misrepresent anything. Follow the rules. Be patient, and if you do all of that, if you approach this properly, your chances of success are very good. Let me give you some final practical advice. Start organizing your documents now. You'll need birth certificates, marriage certificates if applicable, police clearances, educational transcripts, professional licenses, employment references, and numerous other documents. Many of these take time to obtain, especially if you need to request them from institutions in other countries or get them translated and certified. Don't wait until you're ready to apply to start gathering these. Begin now. Network with other migrants and expats. Join online communities. Participate in forums. Ask questions. Learn from others' experiences. There are countless social media groups, forums, and online communities dedicated to Australian immigration. These can be invaluable sources of information, support, and practical advice. You'll learn what to expect, what mistakes to avoid, and how to navigate the system effectively. Consider visiting Australia before you migrate if possible. A tourist visit can help you understand the country, explore potential places to live, get a feel for the culture, and confirm that this is really what you want. It's a significant financial investment, but for many people, that first-hand experience provides clarity and confidence that makes the subsequent migration process less stressful. Finally, take care of your mental and emotional health throughout this process. Immigration is stressful. It's normal to feel anxious, overwhelmed, excited, scared, hopeful, and doubtful, sometimes all in the same day. Talk to family and friends. Consider speaking with a counselor if the stress becomes too much. Remember that this is a marathon, not a sprint. Pace yourself. Celebrate small victories. Don't let setbacks derail you completely. The expansion of the core skills occupation list to 456 occupations represents a historic opportunity, It's a signal that Australia is opening its doors wider than it has in years. It's recognition that skilled workers from around the world are needed and wanted. It's a chance for thousands of people to build better futures for themselves and their families. And if your occupation is on that list, you're one of the lucky ones who has this opportunity right now. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video. First, go to the Department of Home Affairs website and check if your occupation is on the new Core Skills Occupation List. Second, if it is, start researching your skills, assessing authority, and what documents you'll need. Third, book an English language test, or start preparing for one if you haven't taken it recently. Fourth, calculate your points and understand where you stand. Fifth, consider consulting with a registered migration agent to get personalized advice for your situation. And finally, make a decision. Commit to this path, or acknowledge it's not for you right now, but don't stay in limbo. Don't let this opportunity slip away through inaction. The Australia you've been dreaming about, the one where you have a fulfilling career, financial security, a safe and beautiful environment to raise your family, access to world-class services, and a genuine quality of life, that Australia is within reach. This expanded Core Skills Occupation List has just brought it significantly closer. The door is open. The pathway is clear. The opportunity is here. Now it's up to you to take the first step. Thank you so much for watching in Aussie Global Affairs. If you found this video helpful, and I really hope you did, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us reach more people who need this information. Subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our updates, because immigration policies change frequently and you want to stay informed. Share this video with anyone you know who might benefit from this news, whether they're friends, family members, colleagues, or members of your online communities. Knowledge is power, and by sharing this information, you could literally change someone's life. Drop a comment below, letting me know if your occupation is on the list and what your next steps will be. I read every comment and I love hearing your stories and answering your questions. And remember, your Australian dream is closer than you think. Stay positive, stay informed, stay determined, and I'll see you in the next video with more immigration updates and insights. Until then, take care, start planning, and get ready to make your move to Australia a reality.